What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Life's a Garden. Today's guest was my travel companion on my trip to Ireland. Today we're going to break down the entirety of that trip. We'll tell you all the tales and adventures that we went on, and we're going to talk about the things that we learned and loved the most about Ireland. He's been on the show before. He's my cousin, and he is the bass player for my band Cutthroat, which, by the way, has a CD coming out August 23rd. So go check out Cutthroat on Facebook. We have a brand new Instagram you can go follow us on now. The CD will be available on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora, YouTube, anywhere you can find music. It should be available on there. And the release will be coming out very soon, so stay tuned for that. I'm sure we're going to talk about the recording process and the release and everything like that, without giving too much away. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back Aaron Craig. Cheers, laddie.
Cheers.
Back from a glorious vacation. Best I've ever had.
Ditto.
Not long enough.
Nope. Didn't even want to come back.
Might be the first time I've been on a vacation. Well, because usually I take 3-day vacations, 4-day vacations, and they're usually pretty packed full of events, and whether it's a football game or a concert or something like that, and it's like by the end you're exhausted and ready to come back. But this time we took our time, slept in.
Yeah, it was nice. No itinerary. Just, what pub are we going to today?
Yeah, it was pretty relaxing, pretty nice, and I thought we paced it out pretty good. So I think we got to tell the tale properly. So let's start from the beginning. Get on the plane. American Airlines. Not too bad. I chose it because it was, just a one connecting flight.
Yeah, that was nice.
Everything else was 3. Or 2, sorry. Like 1 to Denver, and then 1 to the East Coast, and then 1 to Dublin. And I didn't want to do that because I knew there was going to be way more chances of mistakes being made or delays or, whatever, missing a flight.
Right.
And it just sucks to get on and off a plane. But that stewardess on that first flight, she was cool.
That was epic.
I wish I could remember her
Hooked
name.
it up. I know. She got us hammered.
Yeah, she got us complimentary beverages. I don't even think we could pay for that. Like, every other flight we had, the first flight was the only one that we didn't upgrade to have free drinks. Where that one, yeah, that's the only one that we weren't going to get free drinks. So I was like, I'll just have a water. And she's like, it's on me. Because she was like chilling with us and having a conversation.
It's crazy that she knows about the Crystal Lounge.
Yeah, that's kind of where the conversation started. Well, it started with the band and then rolled around to the Crystal. Everything comes back to the Crystal.
Ugh, can't leave that place.
As hard as you try.
Right?
Got delayed in Chicago. Wicked storm.
That was gnarly.
You were pretty hammered already.
Oh, yeah.
The long layover and, a 5-hour layover in Chicago?
Yeah.
And then just drank and ate hot dogs. And but yeah, we take off in this storm. We got delayed 2 hours. We're sitting on the plane for 2 hours. And they finally give us the go-ahead. It's still storming outside. We're in the middle of the air flying through wicked turbulence. And, lightning flashing, lighting up the whole cabin.
That was weird. I've been flying since I was a little kid. Never seen lightning from a plane.
Me
I don't want to
either.
see it ever again either.
Well, and watch it strike the plane and then just all power goes down.
That would have been lovely. I'd have been pissed. Maybe on the way back, okay, because then I don't have to go to work anymore.
If we
No,
don't have to
just
do
kidding.
anything anymore.
Yeah. But yeah, that was weird. I've never, I don't know. It wasn't that scary, I guess. Like
No,
I've
but
been
it
on
was.
a scarier flight, but that was still like, ugh.
I tell you this, it would have been more scary if we were in a smaller plane,
Shit, yeah.
because those bigger planes can handle, weather pretty easy. And my ass, like I heard that, like you barely feel turbulence on big planes like that. My ass.
Yeah.
And the thing is, if we weren't if that was less turbulence than a smaller plane, imagine what a smaller plane would have been doing in that weather. Just like,
Yeah.
I'm sure they grounded those planes.
Yeah, I would think they would have to.
God, yeah, that'd be too much. Gotten to Ireland the next day because of the time change, 7-hour time change.
Yeah, they're 7 hours ahead of us.
Yes, and then plus however long the flight and delays and all that stuff was. The hotel, what'd you think of that? What were your thoughts on the hotel?
Oh, that place was awesome.
Yeah, I mean it was just standard, kind of small,
Yeah, it was
but
perfect. Right in the middle, just the heart of Dublin, like just right there by every good, awesome bar that everyone told us, check out this place, check out that place.
yeah, easy access to everything. Pretty much was walkable from there. Everything was pretty
The
walkable.
little breakfast cafe right there, that was badass.
Yeah, that thing was cool. So we'll get to more specifics, but 4 days in Dublin, took a train to Galway, 2 days in Galway. Well, more like a day and a half. What?
I was just thinking of the train ride.
Oh yeah, freaking dum here is farting on the train. I'll give you this. You did pretty well on the planes. Like you didn't.
I held those ones.
Yeah, you didn't do what I thought you would do. But the train ride was a different story. And the poor old lady behind us. Every time I'd smell one, I'd just glare over, and then I'd hear her go.
That was the best part.
And she didn't just have a cough because it was only when you'd fart.
She was fighting death.
Yeah. Went to the Cliffs of Moher.
Beautiful.
That was awesome.
Spread the ashes of our loved ones.
Yeah, and there was part of me that was hesitant almost to do it there just because it was a touristy spot. It would have been worse to do it over like where that castle was.
Yeah.
Like that was just too heavily foot traffic and stuff like that. So we walked
It wasn't even the prettiest part of the cliffs.
It really
either,
wasn't. So we walked along the cliffs, got about midway through the cliffs, and just dumped them over the side. So some of them was on land, and we knew some of them would wash into the sea. So just all over, like just a little bit of everywhere. In the most beautiful part of Ireland.
Yeah, so beautiful. Like you could feel the spiritualism there. Like it was just so powerful just looking at those cliffs. And you don't think they're like that big, but then you look across to the other cliff and the people are like that big walking. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah, now that part it put it into perspective of how gigantic. And from the drop, I'd be curious to look up what the actual drop from the water to the top is.
Yeah,
it's got to be a couple thousand feet.
It's something, man. It's massive.
And then what was really cool is when those ashes spun up.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were dumping the ashes of my little brother and my Aunt Annie, and then who were you dumping?
Uncle Don.
Uncle Don. And this gust of wind came, swooped the ashes, and they swirled, and then just poof, gone like that. It was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty.
That made me feel really good. Like, yeah.
You could tell it was. We didn't have what'd you call it? The something moment.
The Lebowski moment.
Yeah, where they.
We would have if we would have dumped ashes at the first spot. The wind was blowing right at our face.
Yeah, just right up the cliff.
Like, no, not here. Like that's a sign.
Like the wind was cool because it carried it, but yeah, not right there. That would have been pretty rough.
Yeah, be picking ashes of our loved ones out of our beards, like,
sneezing them out.
Yeah.
Let's see what else. Galway, they had a like a horse racing tournament that we weren't aware of. And
The most beautiful women in the world. Oh my god.
every other way you look, it's just like some hot girl with a tight dress on.
Yeah.
And everybody was all dressed dappered up, not to the nines, which sucked because we had suits. We brought suits, and I feel so dumb because you suggested bringing them.
I know. I wish we would have now.
I know. And then
Then we wouldn't have looked so American.
yeah. Yeah, that was the only real bummer, but it was still cool to be there and see everything. It was just busy in Galway. Galway was a lot more authentic Ireland, I feel like, than Dublin. Dublin was
like New York City of Ireland. Like,
a lot more Americanized, more made for tourists. And a lot of tourists were there. Plus, just kind of a melting pot in a way. Like,
yeah.
there were a lot of Irish, accents and locals, but then especially service workers, you'd find a lot of Ukrainian,
Brazil.
One of the guys was from Mexico City.
Oh yeah.
Just from all over the world. And so that was a little bit different, or not as expected, I guess. I didn't really think of that as an option.
Yeah.
A lot of the food was very Americanized there, burgers, pizza, things like that. But in Galway, it was a lot more authentic. Almost everybody was Irish accents, and hell, they were even speaking, like, some of them were even speaking Gaelic.
Yeah. Yeah, what a hard... I don't know. I'm surprised how hard it was for us, having Irish blood and stuff. And I noticed, like, when our family gets drunk or has a few drinks, little Irish slang comes out and we don't even mean to. But over there, it's like, wait, what? Like, they talk so fast. I'm like,
that was kind of a rough part, is when people would be telling us stuff or like trying to give us good information, and then it was just hard to understand, and you wanted to so bad, but
I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of made you do all the talking, like, and listening, because I was like, I can't fucking hear or understand, so I'm just gonna
I kind of
over here and drink my beer, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah, I was trying to be so attentive and trying to, really.
And I was doing the opposite. Sorry, buddy.
Well, and you know what else doesn't help is it's not just the accent. They're very, like, even spoken. They're not too quiet, but they're not projecting very much. Like guys like Milo, he spoke in a very, like, an easier tone to really hear.
Yeah.
He was one of the guys. That's why it was so easy to understand what he was saying.
Milo was a bartender at the Chenet in Dublin, by the way.
Shout out to Milo. We gotta shout out Brian from he's a regular at the Lundy Foot. First local we spoke to. Nicest guy in the world.
Yeah, told us all the good spots, and he's like, don't take the train to Galway, take the bus, you'll see more scenery. We wanted to do the train just because we're on a train in Ireland, what the hell. But yeah, every piece of advice he gave us was
spot on.
Spot on, yeah.
Yeah, he was the right guy to talk to, and he helped. I don't know. We took some good advice from him, I think, and that's the best thing to do, is just listen to the locals.
Yeah,
because they're gonna give you the best advice you can get. Don't go in with a pre-plan. That's the best thing we did this whole trip, and that's the best piece of advice I could give anybody who's going to travel anywhere, not just across the seas, but if you're going to go to any big city, don't have a plan. If you're going to go, like, adventuring somewhere, maybe have, like, one or two things that you want to do or have to do.
Just no itinerary, just
wing
go
it.
With the flow, wing it.
And that's how we came across some of the coolest bars.
Yeah.
We re-frequented a few of the places that we had gone to before because we were just like, this place is too cool. We got to go back. Or some places were a little closer, so it was easier to go there. Like old Darky Kelly.
That place was great.
Yeah.
Hey, you should tell them the history about that place.
Oh boy. Yeah, and Brian again with a history lesson for us. And he's the one who was like, go to Darky Kelly. And it was one of our favorite places. So Darky Kelly, literally 2 doors down from our hotel. named after the first black prostitute in Ireland.
Yeah.
And it's the most racist name you could possibly think
Like,
of.
Jesus.
So they're not quite as progressive as America, because that would not fly here.
No.
Although we did see a lot of like gay pride stuff. So that was another thing that was very, like, felt very big city, was like the progressive, semi-progressive, I should say, in the fact that there was quite a bit of gay pride stuff, and you saw a lot of like Chinese restaurant, Brazilian restaurant, different types of restaurants that weren't quite.
The pizza joint at the Dolphin.
Oh yeah, the
run by Turkish people.
Brooklyn style pizza in Ireland cooked by Turkish people.
It was delicious.
It was great. So great, I got 2 giant slices on our last day, which was a mistake because I forgot how huge they were. It's like a quarter of a pizza. But
yeah.
It was delicious. That I think was probably my biggest regret of the trip was the food. Like, some of the food choices that I personally made. trying to make
pizza and burgers.
I
ate a burger.
It was a good burger.
Yeah.
But like you had the bangers and mash.
Delicious.
You did the
did fish and chips.
Fish and chips. We had the Irish breakfast. Everything we had for breakfast was tits. Like,
yeah.
It was all good. That what's it called? The big Irish breakfast or something like that?
Full Irish breakfast.
Full Irish breakfast. That was probably my second favorite thing that we had.
Yeah. So much food.
My first favorite was definitely the beef stew.
Yeah, that was dang.
Just a mound of mashed potatoes with stew around it, and
pure yummy awesomeness.
Yeah, what would you say was your favorite food that you had?
Probably that full Irish breakfast. Actually, no. The last day when we left, that omelet.
That was good.
Best omelet I've ever had in my life.
I'm so glad that I just like doubled it up, because if you would have had that and I had something else, I would have been so bummed.
Yeah, dude, that thing was amazing.
Yeah. Another thing that we discovered, and I should have known this because I've somewhat known this about European countries, is no such thing as drip coffee.
Yeah, that was great.
They don't have pots of coffee. It's all espresso machines. Every bar has an espresso machine. Or every restaurant.
That Irish coffee we had at Darky Kelly's. Holy shit.
Best Irish coffee I've ever seen or had.
Ever.
Like, some real love went into that. What were your thoughts about, like, I guess, let me just ask this. What do you think, because we went through probably I think we figured 25 at least pubs.
Yeah.
throughout the whole lot of them.
Including Galway.
Yeah, between Galway and
25 or 26 of them.
It's at least 25.
A lot of pubs.
Yeah, we definitely counted 25.
And we would frequent some of them, like, Others would be like, we don't have to come back here again.
Yeah, there were some that were just like one and dones, and then there were some that were just like, we gotta go back. Bad Bob's was kind of one I could have avoided doing a second round, but we were told that it was the only place open, remember?
Yeah.
And then we walked down and found the Temple.
The Temple, that and O'Connell's, those are my favorites.
That's what I was going to ask you. What would you say are your top 3 favorite bar?
I'd say Temple in Dublin, O'Connell's in Galway. Probably the Dolphin, actually, just because of the hospitality. Like, we made friends there. We made friends, and they're,
remembered us. And
well, fuck. As Shanae was really good, too, because they want a care package from Cutthroat, so. And
it was a music bar. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any, like,
I know, so sad. So we got told that there was open mic bluegrass night on Tuesdays, and then what was that? Just I don't know why they were.
It was
closed.
Just old advertising, because they were closed Mondays and Tuesdays.
Yeah,
I would have to imagine it has to do with either the fact that Milo was saying the music, they don't do music during the summer because it just doesn't draw enough of a crowd, because there's always so much other stuff going on.
Yeah,
and then
that sucks. I really wanted to play some some upright bass, do some bluegrass, over in Ireland. Like, hell yeah.
Well, and then we saw a lot of live music everywhere, just mostly just solo artists doing covers or doing.
That's one thing I liked about Galway. They actually had full bands. They had an actual drummer and a bass player.
Mm-hmm.
But the traditional was really good. Hearing that fiddle and banjo and guitar,
The pipes,
and
that one dude on the flute.
Yeah, that was badass.
That was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Not even a flute; it was a pipe.
One of those, the tin whistle or
Yeah.
penny whistle, whatever.
It was awesome. So you'd put Shanae on there for your top 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think mine would probably be. Darky Kelly's tough too. Like it's probably Darky Kelly probably falls on an honorable mention list.
Oh, for sure. Like that. Actually, all of them except that one bar in Galway. The guy wouldn't serve me because I'm an American.
Yeah, tell that story.
That was kind of douchey. Oh yeah, so I just walk up to the bar, I'm gonna order us some drinks, and the guy kept walking right by me, and people kept coming up, standing next to me, getting their drink right away. And I'm just like, wow, this is bullshit. Like, I've been here like 10, 15 minutes, and one of the locals, he's sitting there, and he's like, he's not gonna serve you that. I'm like, well, why? You're American. I'm like, just because I had my hat on backwards. And
yeah, apparently, and it made sense after we were told this. If you're wearing a baseball cap,
they just assume you're American.
Yeah, even though there was other people wearing them, but it was once I noticed that there were a lot of people not wearing like if you're wearing a hat in public, it's either like a cabbie hat or like a fedora type hat or some kind of like more of a like dress hat. But yeah, if you're wearing a ball cap, it's a dead giveaway that you're an American. But yeah, so we didn't get served by that guy. Then we walked over and got a beer from somebody else. We should have just walked out the door right then and there.
Yeah. Well, it was great. The guy that told me, though, like, he's not going to serve you because you're American. I go up, meet up with you, grab our beers, and that same asshole comes up and he's like, that guy over there just bought you guys shots. Like, all right.
Yeah.
So we went down and took some shots. Like, that was cool.
Oh, yeah. That was pretty rad.
For the most part, the people were great there. Like,
yeah,
so nice. And just like, oh, well, you guys are from Montana? Like, whoa. So, yeah. And that was way cooler than saying, like, oh, yeah, we're from California or we're from New York. Because they hear that shit all the time. Like, Montana. And they're like, what?
Yeah. So, yeah, once we said we were from the States, we kind of were like, oh, yeah, Nobody was rude about it. But once we said we weren't from, like, New York or Florida or Texas or California, they were, like, more intrigued by it. And it was cool to see the locals ask us questions the same way we would ask them questions. Like, they were just as curious about where we're from as we are from with them.
I think it's funny that they thought we were Irish at first.
Yep, there was one
asking us directions.
That was the best compliment I got the whole trip, was 2 Irish people asking us for directions in Dublin. We're like, oh, we're not from here. So at least we somewhat fit the mold, even though we probably were wearing ball caps that day too, like we were most of the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, the service and just like the general public were very, very nice. Everyone was super friendly. We saw, hardly any disputes.
Yeah.
We saw that one guy get thrown out of the bar.
Yeah, and he deserved it. So this asshole, for apparently no reason, some Ukrainian gal was dancing to the live music, and this guy from Brazil comes up and just whap, full on, just
smacked her in the face.
Smacked her. And yeah, so we didn't get to see that, and which is probably a good thing
for him.
For him, yeah. But yeah, we're just walking by like, oh, let's go check this bar out, and there's the bouncer. Get the fuck out of here! Like,
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
I don't give a fuck. You get the fuck out of here!
Yeah,
and like
that
was the first night we were there, so that was pretty epic to watch that.
We're like, all right.
Yeah,
I'm surprised we didn't see any goddamn fights.
No, we saw a few almost or some arguments and things like that, but for the most part, nobody was there. wasn't hardly any issues.
Yeah. I mean, Galway, there could have been, but that's why I was like, dude, we gotta go.
Yeah.
I already know, I'm gonna end up throwing down because these guys keep shoulder checking me, and I don't like the odds when we're outnumbered that much. And Irish jail does not sound good. Any jail, I mean.
Even though there was a very slight, very minimal police presence anywhere.
Yeah.
Or at least to the
To the
watchful
naked eye.
eye. Yeah.
Like, 'cause, yeah. Like when we were in the cab going to the airport, that cop just...
And he was driving like a Honda Civic.
Yeah, we're like, what the hell?
Like no badges on it, nothing. It was just lights, and that was pretty bizarre. Had I known that, I would have felt a little more safe, I guess. But there was no reason to not feel safe.
Except trying to cross the street.
Oh God. Yeah.
We were both traumatized by that shit.
The first of all, the driving on the left thing was pretty gnarly in itself. It was just like a kind of a mind fuck to actually see it. You knew that was the case, but to see it, and then all the sidewalks are basically just...
You can't walk side by side and not...
Yeah, it's
like you're taking up the whole...
Exactly.
sidewalk.
They're very thin sidewalks. Then you have a little bike lane that runs right across next to the sidewalk, and then the driving lanes are always just enough for a car, like the width of a car.
Bikers were just as good. The bicyclists, they were just as crazy as the damn drivers.
Mm-hmm. They and if
those
you cross
buses, man, like parking within inches of each other, like Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
But like not just parking, like coming in hot and then stop.
Everybody drives like so fast, and there's no straight roads. All the intersections are very wonky. There's hills, so you're trying to like look across the road, and then all of a sudden a car just goes zoom right across the hill, and you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
So every time we're trying to cross the road, we're triple checking everywhere. And there was a couple times we crossed, it was like, oh, we looked that way when we should have looked that way. We could have got smoked.
Thank God they put down on the right
For
by the curb.
dumbass
Look left,
Americans.
look right, and it's like, yep, that's for our idiot asses.
Mm-hmm. Sure, there was too many incidents.
And it's weird because we didn't see any incidents. It looked like there could have been
A
so
few.
many times, like especially on the road to the Cliffs of Moher. Like the bus would have to stop, so another bus could get by or whatever.
So thin. And then everything on the side was like the trees or the buildings.
Yeah, it was hitting the side of the bus the whole way. Like I could hear it like scraping the window and shit. I was like, damn.
Yeah, that was intense. And those back country roads were even smaller.
Yeah. And that corkscrew coming down.
Oh God. Yeah, that was wild.
Felt like I was on a roller coaster ride. Like my stomach had the butterflies going. Like, whoa.
And some of the roads were kind of like not too well maintained, so it was like yeah. So there's that. Oh, I did want to go back real quick and say an interesting difference between there and America is the service, while being great, everybody being very hospitable, very polite. It's a lot slower than
they were
the U.S.
Yeah, they were just walking from
like they're getting their tasks done, but it's definitely at a pace that's more just like casual. It's a more casual pace. No, there was a few people I saw that were busting their ass and really getting moving, but for the most part, for the consensus point, everyone was just kind of like, all right,
shuffling.
I'll get your beer. Like let's just doing it at my own pace, and things would get to you, and you had to ask for your check. It was very rare that they would ask you if you wanted your check. You would have to ask them. If you wanted your food taken, you'd have to tell them to take it. You couldn't just sit it off,
Yeah, they just serve you and leave you alone.
Yeah. If you wanted another beer, you'd have to flag somebody down. They wouldn't necessarily ask you if you wanted or needed another one.
Yeah.
Everywhere paid by card, which was super convenient. There was a couple places I was like, oh God, I hope you take a card.
Yeah, some of them like old school diners and shit. Like,
yeah, that one was good too. That sandwich we had at that little diner off by the
the
train
breakfast
station.
roll. It wasn't a roll. It was a loaf. The breakfast sandwiches were that big. I'm not even exaggerating. It was a whole roll, whole loaf. That was rough.
Oh, you know what was another really cool bar? Was the Doll in Galway.
Yeah.
With all those like secret passages, and you'd find a new room, and then there was that one room that you could like smoke because it was basically a courtyard.
Yeah.
On like the third floor.
There was a few bars like that. I loved that.
That one bar was cool too. The King's Head.
Yeah.
I kind of wish we would have went and ate there.
Too bad that bathroom smelled so bad of piss. I ended up puking in the sink and in the trough. I was like, my God, it like burned my eyes.
It was just pure ammonia.
I'm such a wuss when it comes to
pee
stink.
smells.
Oh, that pee, it was just acrid, just like rancid, burning my eyes. Just,
Yeah. Oh, I can imagine.
ugh.
The
That was gnarly.
transportation there was fairly easy to get, like cabs, to get on the train was super easy.
I still wish we would have rode the double-decker bus.
That was the one thing we really, as far as transportation goes, that was the one thing
we know where it's going and what, like, yeah.
Yeah, we definitely could have looked into that a little more. Oh, gotta mention Conor McGregor's bar.
That was awesome.
So that's where we went for my birthday for dinner. I knew I wanted to go there, have a steak. We dressed up in our suits, our 3-piece suits, looking like pimps. I was a little concerned that we were going to get kind of hazed for doing so because it wasn't exactly like as fancy as it looked online.
Yeah.
That was my
Instead, though, that one lady. Oh, I'm gonna tell my kids that you guys are Conor McGregor's cousins.
Yeah.
With the red beards and shit, the suits, like, because he's always rocking a 3-piece, pinstripe or whatever.
Yeah. Well, and we ended up getting to hold the belt.
That was sweet.
We got to take pictures with what they say it's one of the actual belts, and I believe it.
I'm sure it is.
Like,
I mean, goddamn, it weighed a ton.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a replica, but I don't know. I feel like he's authentic. Well, he's not. He is what he is, but I don't think he would gimmick that as bad.
Was it at Darky Kelly's where we were like, how come you guys don't have proper 12? I'm like, well, because Conor McGregor's an asshole.
No, that was Milo that told us that.
Oh, was it Milo?
Yeah. Well, because it was at Darky Kelly's that we noticed.
Yeah,
that nowhere
no
carries proper 12. And at his place, he only carries proper 12.
Yeah, no Jameson. I don't think there was any other Irish whiskey there. Just straight up proper 12.
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. Like, there might have been some Tullamore Dew or something. I don't know.
Maybe. But, yeah, it's sucks because I'm a huge fan. My fanhood of him has diminished a little bit over the years, just for one reason or the other. But it really does suck to see that, like, the Irish people have kind of abandoned him in a way.
Yeah, they're like, he's an asshole.
Well, because I understand it. It's like, he was the hero. He was the guy that they wanted to hitch their wagon to and cheer him on. And, he's going into battle for us. He's for the Irish people. And then turns around and kind of sells out in a way.
Yeah.
And so... And you can tell that he feels that effect too, because he's pretty much in love with America more than he is with Ireland anymore.
I mean, I can't really blame him, but at the same time,
or so it seems.
Ireland is the shit.
It is the shit. Oh, but
can't wait to go back.
We gotta talk. Yeah. Oh, dude, that's a definite. We gotta talk about the steaks too, though. So the steaks come out on this. On like it's a self-cooking thing. It's like a hot stone.
Yeah, it's a super hot stone, and they put the steak on there pretty much. I feel like they
seared it.
They seared it and then threw it on there, and you just let it cook to whatever temperature you want.
And I was freaking out because it was smoking so bad it was filling the entire restaurant. And I was just like, oh my god, we're the assholes that are smoking the whole place out. Like, this kind of sucks. And so I immediately, like...
And I don't know why ours were so much more smokier than everyone else, like those other 3 dudes that were next to us. Mm-hmm. They ordered the same thing.
I think it didn't help that the door was closed when we got ours.
Something.
Because they opened the doors and
they had to open it after we got ours.
Yeah.
They're like, shit.
Well, and then those other guys got them, and I think it just helped that it flushed right out. But... we didn't understand that the point of it is you're supposed to take it off, cut it into small pieces, and then let it cook itself on the stone. We kind of figured it out toward the end, but again, somebody there trying to tell me how to do it properly, and I'm just like, what did you say? Like,
I could barely understand him. That dude was hammered too,
yeah,
though.
that didn't help.
But yeah.
And I thought there was part of me that thought those guys were gonna kind of give us a hard time, but they were super nice too.
Super cool.
And then hung out at the bar there, and just once we were there for a while, people were just like pretty cool with us. Again, cool bartenders. Apparently Connor was there the night before because
that'd have been cool to get to meet him, man.
That would have been epic. And the night before, we were there on a day that they have what's called Gaelic football. And it's kind of a mix between... I've never even heard of it until we were there. It's a mix between, I would say, rugby, soccer, and kind of basketball, because you have to dribble the ball.
Well, and kind of football, because they kick between the posts, but then you got the net, you can score points in that. Like, it's weird. I don't fully understand it, but
Me either.
It's very entertaining.
But it's only played in Ireland.
Oh, and by the way, the Irish call soccer.
Yeah.
And
So
football is the...
you refer to it as Gaelic football.
Yeah.
And then there's American football, and then there's soccer. So what we call soccer, they also call soccer. It's not football. But yeah, this Gaelic football thing, it was the championship. So they and Dublin was in the
Dublin
championship
versus Kerry.
Yeah.
Yo.
And because it's by county, there's all the counties of Ireland have a team. And so we just so happened to be there on the championship day. Hung out. Now this was the second day we were there, and this was the day we were really catching up on, like the time change and the jet lag was really setting in. So we went and got breakfast, went back to the hotel, took a nap, went to Darky Kelly's, had a couple drinks, watched half the game, went back, took a nap, and then went out later that night, went across the river from where we were at, hit up a couple bars, and then ended up at this bar. God, I still can't think of the name. But the trophy...
It was like Sealy's or something like that.
Something like that,
It
yeah.
started with an S.
Yeah.
I think.
I don't. It'll come to us eventually.
Yeah, right after the podcast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But we're hanging out there, and the team must have been upstairs because they were parading the trophy around the bar. So we got to see the trophy.
That was pretty cool.
That was really cool. I remember showing some gal that because she was really talking about it. I was like, "Yeah, we just saw the trophy today." She goes, "No way." And I was like, "Yeah, it was."
You're like, look.
And I showed her, and like the way she goes, like they're really proud of that trophy. Like they said that's bigger than some of the soccer trophies that are around.
I love how much sports there are there. I mean, from the, what was the women's soccer? That was too bad. It was 0-0.
Yeah, we got to catch,
and then the
most
horse
of it.
races.
Yep.
That was pretty cool. We both called our horses. Mine was in last place, yours was in first, and then somehow mine, Desert Hero, made it all the way. I was like, what? Oh, I wish I would have bet money.
Oh, that was sick. And I'm sure the odds were like not...
No.
It had to be at least in the middle.
Yeah.
We went and did the Guinness tour and the Jameson tour.
That Jameson tour. The Guinness tour was amazing, and that bar is amazing.
Gravity bar.
Yeah, you get to see...
Pretty much a 360 view of Dublin.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was pretty epic, but that Jameson tour
was way better.
Yeah. The tour guide, Max, what a guy, man.
Yep, shout out to Max.
What an awesome job. He gets to sample shots 7 times a day.
Well, and
you could tell he loves his job. He was really good at that.
And we couldn't have just, again, I felt like so much of this trip happened the way it should, like the best way it could have happened. You know what I mean? Like, yes, there was a few things that, like, we could have wore our suits in Galway. We could have not eaten at that fucking barbecue place.
Yeah, that was not a...
We could have ate the food in general better. We could have done the food better in general. But, like, other than that, I thought so much of it just coincidentally was so good. The way we kind of we were planning on doing Guinness and Jameson the same day, but
I'm glad we spread them out.
Me too. And because we were kind of just like chilling and going with the flow, we were kind of just like, you know what? I think we've done enough touring today. Let's go back. Let's go to some more pubs, get some food, just hang out tonight. Tomorrow we'll go to Jameson. We go to Jameson. We end up with probably the best possible tour guide because he was funny, he was educational, he was very well spoken.
Yeah. Yeah, Yeah, I learned a lot about shit actually at both places. Like just watching how they made the barrels. Like
Oh, that was
Guinness,
super
like,
cool.
What?
Super intricate.
Crazy.
And then Guinness, you learn the history of it. It was a fortress it was a base during World War One or two. They used the original distillery as like a military base because it was so like fortified with the walls and
that's like a whole nother city right there. Like,
oh yeah, they said that whole
huge.
district was just for the distillery.
That's crazy.
And then learned how to properly drink whiskey, just like how to properly sip on a whiskey, which I never knew up until then. You're supposed to roll it and
yeah. I remember when I was just like, oh, I hate Black Barrel, but then when I tasted it, I was like, oh, because I was like, well, normally I'm just used to shooting, and he's like, please, nobody take shots in front of me. like you sip that and let it sit on your tongue. After you roll it at a 45-degree angle. That was a whole nother way of drinking whiskey now. Like,
yeah, he said you roll it, you watch the
tears
roll down. You take an inhale so that it starts getting your olfactory system boosted. You sip, let it sit on your tongue for a second per the amount of years that it was barreled.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah.
Drink it down. Breathe in and then out. Breathe in the mouth and then out the nose, and that gets it all triggered. And then once you start sipping the whiskey,
totally changes the flavor. It was insane. Like,
yeah,
what?
Makes it a lot smoother, easier to drink. It was very educational, very interesting. But that was the Jameson tour was badass.
That was definitely one of my favorites. Speaking of the Jameson tour, the personalized bottles, like look at that.
Yep. Got ourselves some personal bottles, a couple of them.
Yeah, Cutthroat.
Mm-hmm. And they almost
it's delicious too, because the other personalized bottle that we got for a friend, she let me try it. It was delicious. Best Jameson I've ever had.
Trying to think of what else to add. There's got to be. I mean, any like particular stories that.
Getting shot down by that chick. That was pretty great.
Yeah.
So, God, what bar was that?
That was at the Temple.
That was the Temple. So I go outside to have a cigarette, and this cute girl's out there, and she keeps looking at me, and I saw her throughout the night, and she's constantly just like looking at me. I guess I'm freaky looking. I don't know. So I'm having a cigarette, and I try to talk to her, and she just walks right by. I was like, all right, whatever. And then see her again after I get out of the bathroom, and she's like standing right there, and I was like, all right, this is getting kind of weird and creepy. And I go to the table we were sitting at with those ladies.
Yeah, we got invited to sit at a table with a couple.
We met
of
a lot of Americans, and we just wanted to watch the music, and so we're sitting there, and I look over, and there's this chick again. I'm like, okay, like she's a good looking girl. I was like, eh. So I walk up to go cheers her. She grabs her beer, scoots it away, and I was like, oh, cheers, and she's all, no, she didn't speak English, and but I knew that was as English as it gets right there.
Yeah, it was pretty plain and simple. I
was like, why are you like looking at me like maybe she wanted to kill me or something? Like,
oh yeah, that was.
She was. Now that I think about it, she's scary.
Yeah, well, there was
no.
For some reason, there was a lot of sketchy shit going on that night because we had our boy Ozzy, who was a great musician, playing on stage, but at the same time, he was back talking to clearly,
obviously prostitutes.
Yeah, and like there was one dude who looked all coked out, like hanging out with the prostitutes and talking
had, like, the googly eye and shit. Like, yeah,
and then they were like kicking everybody out except that group. So it was kind of...
Yeah, the bouncer comes up to us like, everybody out. And everyone else just starts lighting up a cigarette and chugging, not even chugging, just sipping on their full-ass beers. And we're just like, let's just go.
Yeah. We there was a couple times our spidey sense was tingling. Like, here's a good one for you guys. First night we were there, we left the last bar that was open late at night. We're walking... There's these guys standing with like sandwich boards that read
lap dances,
gambling,
cocktails
till 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And Aaron, of course, goes,
what?
and says, hey, tell me about this. Like, what's going on with this? What's the story? And the guy goes, follow me. And of course, this guy was not Irish. Some like
dark, shady, seedy alley.
Yeah, starts walking us down. Yeah, we go up. I'm already looking out. I'm like, okay, what's the deal here? And I asked the door guy, I'm like, okay, so like, I don't have euros. I don't know how I'm going to be able to gamble. I don't know how I'm going to be able to tip or like spend for a fucking lap dance. Is card available? Which was already sketchy enough because I didn't want them to run up my card like a fucking,
Yeah.
and just rob me blind. Which, this was before we even got through the door. He kind of explains everything. I'm like, all right, let's get us in here. It's $15 per person just to get through the door. Then the guy tells us, oh, by the way, you cannot wear hats in here. It's a security thing. You cannot wear hats.
Yeah, so we're like, well, okay, that's weird.
That was strike 2. That was already like red flag number 2. We walk in and immediately, small little bar room. Immediately as we walk in, there is a row of at least 12 to 15 gorgeous women of every race and hair color and whatever you wanted.
Yep.
All looking at us, smiling.
And all lined up. And so I used to live in Nevada where prostitution's legal. And I've had friends take me there. I never did anything, I promise. Like, ugh, that just grosses me out. But one of my old guitar players, he thought I was gay. So he's like, we're going to the whorehouses. I'm like, no, I'm good. Like, but I went with him. Still didn't do anything, so he definitely thought I was gay. Because I was like, no, I'm good. I'm not paying for, like, I don't want the HIV,
Yeah.
And what they do, they just line them all up, and that's exactly what it reminded me of. All the girls are lined up, and you just pick one. Well, as soon as we walked in, that first girl just grabbed me right away, like picking me. Like,
that's kind of what happened to me.
They were desperate to have clientele, and I was just like, oh god.
And I walked up to the bar. No bartender around. The other red flag was there was like nobody else in there. There was no customers.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of like everything about it. Because I had some like Colombian girl come up and start talking to me, and I'm just like, as she's talking to me, I'm kind of listening and trying to conversate with her as I'm like scoping the whole place out.
Yeah, that look on your face, you're just like,
Well,
we gotta go.
Everything was reading no. Like bad. And I went and. As much as it would have been like cool, and if it was,
if it was like a strip club and you really are getting a lap dance, like cool, but
the problem
there was no like music going. Like there was, but it wasn't like it wasn't strip club stuff. Like,
and so
it was just weird.
Yeah, I just made the executive decision. Like we got to get the fuck out of here. Like something's wrong, something's fishy. Either one of 3 things is gonna happen. One, it's like we're gonna get are robbed because they're gonna run up my card.
Yeah.
2, we're gonna have sex with these girls and get STDs. Or 3, it's some kind of like international sex trafficking situation.
Yeah, I got a weird vibe too. I was like, ugh.
Now, what we should have done was ask somebody, a local, like, what's up with that place? Like, what is that like a legit?
I kept meaning to, and then I'd get sidetracked and forget all about it. And
we should
5 Guinnesses later.
We should ask homeboy at the Dolphin.
Yeah,
like he would have told us straight.
Well, and that's who I was gonna ask, and I thought about Milo too.
Or Milo, he would have shot us straight on that.
Too bad we didn't see Brian again. Like, hey, so and he'd be like, "Oh, I go there all the time."
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we would have got the skinny, maybe it would have been worth going back. But because of that first interaction,
that was definitely not like a strip joint. That was definitely a brothel. And
usually,
I wouldn't want to be any part of that. Like,
usually, your gut instinct is the right one, and just like the way you had your spidey sense when we were at that one place, and you're like, dude, we need to kind of leave here because I think we might be in trouble.
Yeah, because if those guys were gonna keep shoulder checking me just because I'm a fucking American, like. I'm going to throw down, but then I'm going to get my ass kicked because I'm outnumbered, and I'm going to wake up in jail or the hospital, and then jail. So I'm like, yeah, no. Like, I deal with enough fighting and bullshit in Billings, Montana.
Yeah.
I don't... I don't need to do it over Dublin or Galway. Actually, that was Galway where those guys were being dicks.
Yep. Which makes more sense because
it's definitely more traditional Irish for sure.
And they probably...
And I get it. Americans can be assholes, but, like, dude, don't...
At least find out that we're assholes.
Don't overgeneralize. Like, everyone can be assholes.
It was funny because it was, like, the first real time that we've ever really felt true discrimination.
Yeah.
And it's like, hey, this is what, like, any ethnicity in America feels. Like, any minority would feel like. So, now we have a better understanding.
Yeah, like, ooh.
To be discriminated against.
It.
Another thing I was going to say is, so one goal that we had was maybe not necessarily to hook up with, Irish lass, but to, like, hang out with at least, or, like, buy some, like, have some drinks, and, who knows, maybe the night goes where it goes, but that was kind of something that we were looking forward to possibly happening. The only women we talked to the entire trip were either Americans, older, married, or lesbians. Want to tell the lesbian story? How about the gay bar story? So we go to this gay bar. At first, it's called the Panty Bar.
Yeah, the Panty Bar.
From outside looking in, it looked like there was a stripper pole, and it looked like there was, like, kind of a stripper sign, like a neon sign with, like, a leg.
It was like legs, yeah.
And so we're like, but the whole outside was full on rainbow. But as I said before, there's a lot of gay pride stuff. So I'm like, well, if this is a strip club, it's a sex work, it's like a sex positive type place. I can see why this might possibly be just super gay friendly or whatever, gay pride. So I was like, either one of two things. This is a strip club or it's a gay bar. We walk in, the first thing I see is two dudes just making out. So I'm like...
I missed that. I just must have walked right by it.
Well, because we were talking, I was like... That's what we were saying. It was like, well, this is either a gay bar or a strip club. And then as we walk in, I just go... I was just like, it's a gay bar. And then we were sitting at the bar. One thing I will say about gay bars, in general... super clean. Always the cleanest.
Oh, that bathroom, it was nice to not have to piss in a trough and, like, open the door and just get slapped in the face with urine stink.
And it smelled, like, nice in there, yeah.
Yeah. It's like, huh. But yeah, then those two girls, so I'm walking over to get a beer or something, and this girl almost bumps into me, doesn't even know, and her friend is sitting there like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, no worries. So I go back, sit with Dakota, and I'm like, all right, we should buy those girls a shot, because, like, every now and then you go to a gay bar, there's a chance that there's straight girls there because they don't get hit on, and, and I was like, so.
And they were gorgeous.
Gorgeous. And I was like, let's test the waters. Like, why not? Yeah, Ava and Megan, beautiful. And they are lipstick lesbians, is what they called themselves.
Yeah,
they thought we were gay.
Yeah. We were in the.
No, we're not gay. We're cousins.
We had
not quite the same.
We had a full 10-minute conversation, and by the time something came around, that they were like they knew it was time to let us know that they were gay.
And yeah, like, okay, like, you guys can go now. Thanks for the shot.
Yeah.
Well, they weren't like that.
No, they were very nice.
Super sweet, yeah.
And because we weren't being overly aggressive either. We weren't, like, trying to come on too hard.
Baby. You like Americans.
But yeah, she goes, yeah, are you guys just hopping around different gay bars, or, like, trying to ask us if other places we might want to go? And she goes, are you gay? And we're like, no. No, we're related. And she goes, rednecks.
Yeah, that was great. That was some funny shit. Well, yeah, because after she found out we were from Montana, like, rednecks.
Yeah, no, they were super nice, but that was the only, like, young Irish women that we actually, like, talked to in a fashion that we were, like, potentially trying to,
like, hang out
advance.
Or something. Like, yeah.
And they were lesbians. Oh, God. But that was, other than that, obviously got lucky to see all those gorgeous women in Galway.
Gee, gads, that was torture.
It kind of was.
It's like, my God. And living in Lake Tahoe for so long, like, I'm used to, like, all the hotties, the tourists coming in and walking around in bikinis. this just trumped it all. I was like, oh my God, I've never seen so many women in my life.
We also got a shout out. I believe his name was Richard at the at O'Connell's the last day we were there.
Oh yeah, that dude was awesome.
Yeah, him and his family, they were all very, very nice, and they were just, again, more super nice people, just as curious about America as we are about Ireland. It's funny too, just in eavesdropping on conversations, it was interesting to hear about how many people were making small talk about American politics.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was talking about that earlier at work. I was like, man, they really are interested, and a lot of them really don't like Joe Biden.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, good on you.
Well, and one of the coolest experiences I feel like I had, like one of the most authentic experiences, and just like a minor thing that really it wasn't anything nice to like write home about, but sitting in that diner, or the cafe, I guess is what they're called, sitting in that little cafe when we were heading to Galway, before we headed to Galway, and all the old Irish people sitting there drinking their coffee, reading the newspaper, and having just like bullshit conversations about just like how's the weather, but in that accent, and they're all just like, you know, and you're just hearing all of them talking as you're eating and sitting there. And it's like, fuck yeah, this is legit.
Oh yeah.
Now, 2 side notes that we have to mention. Actually, first thing I want to say is there was so many things that we were told coming to Ireland. There were so many things that, like, little bits of information that
warm beer.
False.
Soccer's called football.
False. Yeah.
Exactly.
The other one was people are going to be rude to you because you're American. False.
Dude, they were sweethearts.
Mm-hmm.
Except that one dickhead.
Yeah, other than
whatever,
that.
I'm fine.
And there's bound to be one.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surprised we only found one.
Yeah, me too.
I'm trying to think of one of the other, like, false.
They'll fight you just because they like to fight.
Yeah, false.
Yeah,
super sweet, kind people.
Yeah.
I feel like we counted out a bunch of things that were incorrect. But now I'm drawing a blank. The one that was true was that the food, because the food is less processed and it has less preservatives and things like that American food.
And the health department doesn't really give a shit about how clean the kitchens are, I heard.
Even though I did see a lot of people, you know, at least in the outside.
Yeah, they were clean and white. Yeah, but
other than that, so they did. We were told, and this was true, is that your stomach needs to adjust to the difference in the food. Now, while the taste,
that was brutal.
The taste wasn't so different. You could tell it was less salted.
Well, I could tell the eggs were
different,
organic. They were not.
No,
like when you get eggs at Walmart or Albertsons.
You can tell the beef was better.
You can tell those are farm eggs. Farm beef, pork.
Because the
sausages,
the texture was kind of different. You could tell it was processed differently. So there was a bit of a difference in like a little bit of the taste, the texture. You could tell like the ketchup was less sweet, like there was less sugar in certain things.
I still wonder what the brown sauce was. The little packets of brown sauce.
I think you might have been right with soy sauce.
Probably.
I bet you were on with that. It's the only thing I can think of, unless it was barbecue sauce.
Yeah.
But
brown sauce.
I know, it's just called brown sauce. So and it'll make your stomach upset, the adjustment. And yes, indeed, that is exactly what happened.
That was brutal. That was brutal.
So, yeah, we got to tell this story. So this trip was heavily induced with diarrhea.
Yeah, you know when you're scared to fart. Like, oh.
Yep, the first, like...
The food was so good, and then I never drank so much Guinness in my life.
That probably didn't help either.
Or Jameson. But it was just so good and so fresh and
I know.
Great.
The Jameson's, or the Guinness is way better over there. You can immediately tell the difference there.
I don't think I could ever drink a Guinness again unless I'm in Ireland.
Yeah.
Especially Dublin. Just right there.
Fresh off the line.
It's like, holy shit.
Freaking Aaron here threw up first night.
Oh yeah.
We do have to mention we went to the second oldest pub in Ireland.
Yeah.
What was that one called?
That was the Brazen Head.
Brazen Head, yeah. And
they claim to be the oldest, but it turns out
the oldest is in Alman, I think.
Yeah, where the train stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called like Sam's or Shannon's or
something like that.
I think it's Sam's.
But yeah, so we that night, yeah, we're walking, and Aaron just like peels off into a alleyway, and I'm like, oh, dude, what are you gonna go pee? You're gonna go pee in this alleyway, like as you're known to do. And so I'm like, don't do that out here. We're gonna get in trouble. And then I just see him. I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. You can do that. And then we're walking, and there's people right in front of us, and he goes, yep, I think I'm gonna do it again. And I was like, uh-oh. And he just goes, and I was like, please don't puke on these people. And then just turns and pukes down a stairwell of a old castle.
Yeah, like it was like I think it was a church
or a church. Either way, it wasn't good.
But it was a building from way back. Like, yeah.
That was classic.
Like, that building's older than the United States.
Yeah. So we had that.
I didn't puke on the people, though, so that
you
was
didn't.
good.
That was good. Good job. Good job on that. What else? We did. So the upset stomach thing. That was pretty funny because we ran out of toilet paper in like 3 days, and we had to go ask for more, and we had to ask like the hottest.
It was the hottest worker at the hotel,
and she was like, "Oh yeah, no problem." So she goes and grabs us 2 rolls.
I was like, "It's not me. It's him." Like, he poops too much.
I poop too much.
Yeah, she just like laughed and like. She's like, no, I know you guys are both Americans. I know you're both shitting your brains out.
Dude, we ran our butts raw. That was rough.
Like, I don't ever want to eat fast food again.
I don't think
especially if I'm going to travel somewhere. Like, no.
Yeah, that's a good tip. Is
I couldn't even eat hooligans today. I ordered an omelet, thinking, okay, well, the last thing I ate in Ireland was an omelet. Maybe this will eat. Nope.
You got to eat as clean as you can about a week before you leave. I think that would be a helpful tip.
Eat as clean as you can always.
In general, yeah.
Jesus.
That's a good health tip.
Have food over there, like at the Brazen Head or whatever. Yeah, when I got the bangers and mash, those giant carrots, and then all those like sweet peas, like.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Portion size,
huge.
So we were,
too much.
They say Europeans have smaller portions, like Americans have like ridiculously large portions. Not Ireland. Ireland has as big, if not bigger, portions of food.
Most of it was bigger.
Remember that fish and chips you had? It was giant.
Huge.
And that stew I had was gigantic as well.
That could feed like 3 people.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah, it was. Everything was very shareable. That sandwich, like you said, it was a giant loaf.
The loaf, we could have just got one, and I would have been fine.
And split that.
I couldn't even eat any more bread. But I made sure to eat all the guts out of it.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, the portion thing was a myth as well. Yeah. Okay. So here's a question for you: thoughts on the beer? What was your favorite beer besides Guinness? Like, because we tried a lot of different lagers and ales. I tried really hard to only drink Irish beer. Did not quite.
I really liked the what was it? The Galway Hooker.
Oh
IPA,
yeah, that was good.
That IPA, that was really good.
I like the Smittix Red or the Rockshore.
Rockshore, I liked the Rockshore. Smittix was
a little hard, a little heavy.
It was good, but the aftertaste, I was like, ugh. I was good for one. I was like, nope, I need another Guinness.
Mm-hmm. One interesting discovery, because I kept once you get, I imagine this is the same with anywhere, but especially a foreign land. And I've noticed this when I go to big cities that I've never been to before either. Once you go somewhere that you've never been, and it's big, and it's bustling, and it's different, you're overwhelmed very quickly. But once you get acclimated to the surroundings, it's easier. Like, you feel more comfortable. You feel like
I was overwhelmed just by the architecture,
everything.
Just like, wow, this place is beautiful, and the weather is amazing because I like rain and I like gray clouds. I don't sunburn.
Yeah, the weather was amazing.
Nice and cool.
Escape the 100 degrees and go to it was no more than 75 degrees.
Yeah.
On any given day. But what I kept noticing is on tap, everywhere had Coors Light specifically. And I was like, well, that's interesting.
Yuck.
But it was interesting that, of course, like my beer, like what are the odds that my beer
I know, I didn't see any PBR over there, god damn it.
The only other, like, domestic, or the only other American beers that I ever saw were sometimes there was Budweiser in a bottle, or there was
Blue Moon.
Blue Moon. And so I was, and they did have Blue Moon on tap. So I was like, well, that's curious. Like, I wonder what the deal is. And then I got a Coors Light bottle just because I wanted, actually because the etching, like the bottle itself was very different. And then I noticed it only said Coors on it, on the label.
It was still the Coors Light
logo.
Colors.
Yeah,
like
everything else
logo,
was still Coors Light.
No light.
And they told us it was because Irish people won't drink it if it says light because they think it's less than, they're not getting as much alcohol or whatever. And the alcohol percentage there on their Coors Light is more. And we found out they actually brew Coors Light over there. They have a Coors brewery in Ireland. So that was very interesting to discover as well. So was
it Ireland or was it? It was Ireland.
I swore they said Ireland. It was like in Cork or something like that. So as I was drinking my Coors Light, it was still Irish beer, which was awesome. Because I did drink some Coors Lights. Because there was sometimes I was just like, dude, I
did have to kick down. Like I needed some bubbles,
or I just needed something
the
a
Guinness
little.
Was just there's no carbonation.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I need
something a little different.
Give me a Coors Light. Ugh.
Just something a little lighter. And then once I figured out that Rockshore lager was very similar, I kind of stuck to that.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was just a light, just like kind of a light Pilsner.
I couldn't get away from that Guinness.
I know. You drank a lot of Guinness.
Yes, indeed.
Now, the other factor that we must discuss is Jerry and the gang. This was just like the most random and almost hilarious note of this trip. The entirety, we only watched Seinfeld.
Yeah.
That was the only show, because the first night we were like kind of perusing they had Netflix on the TV.
There was Netflix. Yeah, someone left their account open or something.
Mm-hmm.
Mary, whoever the hell Mary is.
By the way, somebody was using my account in that hotel.
Really?
Because I had to log into my account on the last day because they had it had gone off of theirs, and so when I went to go watch my Netflix, there was a bunch of stuff on there that was not what I had watched.
You're like, what?
Yeah, but we watched we watched like at least three full seasons.
We got into season 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I started us on season 2.
Okay, so yeah.
We got
and then we got through season 4.
Yep. But that was what we were falling asleep to, and then we'd even wake up and we started like quoting it and acting like Kramer throughout the trip, and it was just kind of a funny little extra thing that
stupid Americans.
I know, but my favorite was
when we were in Galway. We were trying to watch the Irish TV.
That was the one night we didn't.
And we're just like, like,
I should have brought my Roku with us.
It wouldn't have mattered. We were lit enough. I think I was out.
That was the drunkest I had gotten the whole trip. Was that night in Galway? The first night in Galway.
And still didn't wake up hungover.
No, and we woke up early.
Yeah, and then. Like, I don't know how you did say you felt it this morning. So, because I drank when we got back,
I drank last night pretty heavily.
Yeah. And then, last night I didn't even drink that heavily, but I drank enough. But, oh, man, I felt it. I was like, holy shit. We could drink all night in Ireland, and I did not feel a thing. But maybe it's the sea level. I don't know.
I think it was that. I think it was mostly that.
Something, man. The elevation it had.
Maybe just because the beer is less potent too. Like even though the percentage was the same, maybe just something with the body.
Well, I think. Plus, I was drinking
different
slower.
Stuff.
Like I wasn't like.
And we were drinking different types of stuff.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Well, but see that would make me more hungover usually. Like oh, I'm gonna drink tequila tonight, and
Yeah, but we were drinking different beers.
then
mostly.
switching over. Yeah, it was just mostly beers.
So, in conclusion, with everything that everything that we did and said and all that stuff and everything that happened, what's your overall takeaway from this trip?
I want to live in Ireland.
It was pretty fucking phenomenal.
I wanna bring my upright bass, and of course my Fender, and my guitar, and I want to just. I'll just go busk on the streets. I don't give a shit. Yeah, I love it. And the fact that we got to spread the ashes of Grandma, my little brother Alan,
Aunt Annie,
your dad, Aunt Annie,
Uncle Don,
like that was epic.
That went about as well.
That swirl, those ashes swirling, and then like just going like that. That was epic.
Yeah.
That was insane. I was like, oh wow, like yep, they're free. So that was huge. Great people, great place,
Highly
great
recommend.
food.
Highly recommend.
Just watch out at the King's Head. Don't inhale the pee air. Most of those bars, any of the bars that have the troughs, maybe go pee outside or something. I don't know.
That was kind of one thing that you could definitely tell the health standard thing was.
Yeah,
was a little
dude,
bit down.
gross.
Yeah. I'll add this. So, at points leading up to this trip, and even the day we left, there were moments of hesitation I had of, oh boy, I might be in for it on this trip with Aaron. Am I going to get farted out of the room? Am I going to get in a fight? Am I going to have to drag his drunk ass home on any given night? Especially when we were flying out, because we had quite a few at the airport, and then you're eating food on the plane and throwing shit at me, and just little things like that. And I was like, "Fuck, this might be."
I know I can never grow up.
Well, I was just like, "God, this might be a long vacation." But to your credit, I will say this: you maintained. You didn't get aggro with anybody. There was a couple times
I'm
it was
a pretty,
close.
pretty chill guy.
Well, and you're not a dummy. You know better than to try and fight in a foreign land, at least.
I don't want to fight at home.
Yeah, well, that's
happens.
fair. That's fair. But there's a party that somewhat wants to fight, I can tell. Every now and again, you get the itch. Especially
we do have Irish blood.
Especially when the alcohol starts running, you have a tendency to get a little bit more aggro and a little bit more talking shit, or
Yeah, the blood gets running, the mouth gets running.
But ultimately, we never really got that fucked up, even though we drank a lot.
Yeah.
We didn't just we weren't slowing down. We weren't we were bouncing around. I think that helped too, the walking and stuff like that, eating at certain times and having
I went
massive.
through a lot of whiskey and a lot of Guinness.
I think it didn't help either that we were dehydrated from all the diarrhea, So our body was constantly trying to it was taking the beer and hydrating us more than it was getting us fucked up.
I didn't even think about that.
But overall, I will say this. I don't think I could have done this trip with anybody else. I think you were the perfect person to do this with. We had a great time. It went
epic.
smoothly. And to anybody else who is, because initially when I was going to do this trip over a year ago, when I had thought and planned to do this, my original plan was to do it by myself. I was just going to go by myself and just kind of do it solo. And then
there's nothing wrong with that, but
dude, it would have been way worse. It would have not, because do you know how boring and lonely I would have been the whole time? On that train ride, on the bus ride. I'm not the most social butterfly, so it would have been.
I'm retarded like that. I'll be like, "Hey, how's it going, guys?"
See, I would have had a hard. I would have talked to the locals still, but I wouldn't have ever met a friend that wanted to go hang out and party, or even at the bar. I would have just
or the lipstick lesbians.
Yeah, I would have ended up sitting at the bar by myself. If anybody out there is planning on doing a trip by themselves, I would recommend thinking otherwise and finding somebody that you really can get along with and go on that trip together, because it's so much nicer to have somebody that you know with you, especially like in the room at night by yourself, or like, you know, it's nice to have somebody there.
Even with all the farts.
Even like, I'll take the farts any day just to have done that.
Hey, you were popping them off too, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's another thing that was nice having you there, is I didn't feel like a need to withhold them. Or just go into the bathroom and be like, because it was just funnier for us. Like, if I had a girlfriend,
God, we were so Beavis and Butthead.
if I had a
trip.
oh yeah, if I had a girlfriend there or something like that, I would have been more like, I would have turned the shower on and had to poop. You know, I would have been a lot more reserved.
Oh God, having a girlfriend there would have probably been terrible.
I know, because then you really
Or
have to,
like a different, another kind of family member, like, you know, not obviously cousins. We were fine.
yeah,
because basically brothers.
mm-hmm.
But imagine like our parents.
Yeah, that would have been.
I love them to death, but no,
Yeah, it just wouldn't have been the same.
no.
Going to bed late or
Love
early.
you, Dad. Love you, Mom. Not talking shit. I'm just saying.
It just wouldn't have been the same.
Yeah, we were just like, no itinerary. Let's just do what we want.
That's my other recommendation
And
to
it was
anybody
great.
traveling.
Yes, don't make hardcore plans like, oh, we got to be here by this time. No, you don't.
And that's the other thing.
Sleep in. Wake up. You're on vacation. Wake up when you want. Go to bed when you want. Drink what you want. Eat what you want.
That helped us too.
Have a goddamn good time.
Was our ability to just kind of like sleep until, even though most of the places didn't stay out open that late, we were able to be like, you know, let's just like take our time. Let's relax. Let's sleep as long as we need to. Let's get up when we're rested. Don't sleep the whole day away, but you know, let's get up and get ready at our own.
There were some days where I was like, I just want to sleep and watch Seinfeld.
But you didn't want to let the day go.
But then
away.
we'd go, and then it's like, okay, you know what? We're full. We had our beers. Let's go take a nap.
And that's good
Let's
too.
go see what Jerry and the gang's up to.
It was definitely the way we did it on the fly like that, and the way we were able to just be like, the only thing that was kind of more itinerary-y was like the cliffs, but it's the thing
But that was
most
a must
glad.
do.
Yeah,
That was like, for me, that was my main reason of even wanting to go. Like, spread those ashes.
and to also see like countryside Ireland, not just city Ireland.
Yeah.
To see real
Countryside, man, that's God's land there. That is, wow.
And like you said, being at the cliffs was very spiritual. Like, it was very
You
like,
could feel the power. Like, I don't care if it's a tourist trap. I see why it's not a trap. It's a good spot for tourists. I'm glad we did the early trip.
agreed.
Because remember how many just shitheads everywhere? Like, so yeah, when we got there early, that was good.
And being at, I will say this too, when we went to that very first pub, the Lundyfoot, the first pub we went to, I was just like, we were sitting there, we were talking to Brian. It was just classic old school Irish pub inside. They're playing traditional Irish music, and I was just sitting there. I think you and Brian were out for a smoke, and I'm just sitting there looking around. I'm like, God, this feels so like where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
I was like, this is
I never
home.
felt at home on any other vacation I've ever been on.
Yeah.
I was like, shit.
It was like a
I belong here.
it was
Like,
a
I could
true-
live there.
ancestral connection. Like these are my people. These are where I'm from. Like, I feel connected to this place.
Yeah.
Like, I've been here for 100 years. So that was a pretty epic like experience to feel that, and I felt that at the cliffs too. I was just like this is
I
my
definitely
home.
felt it there, and I got goosebumps when the wind took those ashes and just swirled them around, and the poof, gone. Like,
Mhm.
holy shit, did that really just happen? Like,
That was very epic.
yeah. I feel like that kind of put some family members at peace. You know what I mean? Like,
100%. 100%.
yeah. Wow. Yeah, I know. That was the most spiritual, most powerful thing I've ever felt. Like, that was just crazy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It was like something you see in like a Disney cartoon or some shit. Like,
I know,
fuck
right?
just happened?
Yeah,
Like,
some straight
was that
Pocahontas
real?
shit.
Are you kidding me? Like, yeah. Like, yeah. Craziness.
Well, that's the trip in a nutshell, man. And we'll definitely be back.
Oh yeah.
That's a must. Oh, we also got real quick to mention just a quick little quip about the
Nothing
penis
about
cuts.
Oh, the penis.
Well,
cuts.
what do you think I was gonna say?
I thought you were gonna blast out the CD.
Oh, we're definitely talking about that. But first off, we got
the dickhead cut. Like, dude, what the fuck is that?
For some reason, it's the haircut of the young Irishman, or maybe just the young European in general, is to have a fade that goes up halfway through. You got a full head of hair, and you're cutting half of it off, fade all the way up to here, and then bangs like a dork.
It was terrible.
Oh, that was the other bar we went to that we didn't count.
The one bar that with all the like the frat boys
cuts.
with all the penis cuts. Yeah, their hair, they look like dickheads. It looks like
they were dickheads.
And they were dickheads. Yeah, that was the other bar where I was like, dude, we got to get out of here.
Yeah,
because I knew I was gonna get in a fight. Like I gotta go.
That was the one place that didn't take card. I had to pull out Euro.
That's right. Yeah, fuck that place.
I know, but yes, we got to shout out the CD. We got to talk. We'll talk briefly about it. We don't need to get into it because this is all before it comes out anyway, so we can't really reveal too much about it anyway. Don't say the name of the album, or I'll have to bleep it out.
I don't even remember the name.
Well, don't say it.
I don't even remember. Yeah.
But yes, the CD will be out August 23rd on all platforms. Spotify, Apple Music, Pandora.
AMI jukeboxes.
It'll be on jukeboxes. Available for download. We got hard copies coming out soon.
We'll even sign them.
Yep, we'll sign them. We'll send them. We'll ship them. We got all that shit coming up, so be on the lookout for that. Follow Cutthroat, Facebook, now on Instagram as well. A little bit too late on that, but we're out there now on Instagram. What are your thoughts on this CD coming out and everything like that?
I can't wait. We got 4 shows coming up? Like, yeah,
yep.
No, I can't wait. I like the direction we're going. Good stuff.
I think it's going to be epic. I think
the CD is going to be good. It sounds really good.
So, everybody be on the lookout for that. Also, yeah, check out the band page for our shows coming up. We got August 16th, right?
Bullwhackers, yep.
Bullwhackers.
For bike night.
We got August 26th out at Harley Davidson.
26th, okay. Ooh, I better... I for some reason, I thought it was the 23rd, but that's...
No, that's the CD release date.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
The 26th is the... I mean, that's a lot of dates that are just getting thrown out there. So we got September 1st at Craft Local, and we have October 13th, Friday the 13th, at Thirsty Street.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
That's going to be a great one. So check out all those dates, times, all that shit. And before we leave, one last thing. You know how I like to do this. A positive or motivational message from the guest to the audience. What do you think after all this? After this whole trip, after taking in the country land and the cultural, our heritage in Ireland, did it speak to you to say anything positive into the world?
No.
Bullshit.
Stay out of Billings.
No, come on.
Just live for today, not tomorrow, man. You never know. That's all I can really... I mean, every moment is precious, dude. Every single moment. So just cherish it, enjoy it. Don't stress on stupid shit. Just, I don't know. Like money, fuck money. Jobs, whatever. I don't know. Just don't stress on shit, dude. Just live.
Yeah, the mundane
live your
things
life.
in life.
And, yeah. Just live it and enjoy it and just love and cherish everyone and, everyone that's in your life that has made an impact on you and whatever. And just be good, man. The happiest people in the world are those that help others out. Just be good. Just be true, man. I don't really know how to say it not cheesy but
that's true.
But yeah, I mean, yeah. Someone's down on their luck, help them out. someone's trying to take advantage of you, fuck off. Don't waste your time. So.
Don't sweat the small things.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
And I'll add on to that, because this pretty much was just the entire like travel episode. If you're thinking about going somewhere, if there's a place that you've been dying to go, just take out a loan, man. Take out a loan and do it, because you'll regret it if you don't. And you won't.
Life's too short, man. Too short.
Yeah, and you will not regret it if you do. Go out, go to that place, go to whatever it is, whatever your heart beckons you to do. Do it.
Yeah, drink those weird drinks, eat that weird food, like try something new always. And yeah,
experience life.
Experience it, yeah, because we're not here to just go punch in at work and then punch out and then
go home and watch Seinfeld.
And watch Seinfeld.
I agree with all that. And
you just gotta and roll with the punches. Like, life fucking sucks sometimes. Like, we know that a lot more than most people, or a lot of people, I guess.
Well, you know what? Life sucks sometimes, but then you get to go to Ireland, and it doesn't suck quite as bad.
And then life's a garden.
True that. I think that's well said, and I think that's a good way to go out on this episode. Folks, don't forget, go to Cutthroat, Facebook, Instagram, check out all the dates, get ready for that CD to come out, because it's going to be fucking epic. We got this Jameson that says Cutthroat on it. We're going to pop that bad boy.
It's delicious.
On our CD release party, which is coming up very soon as well. And for everybody out there, also, like, share, and subscribe on this thing, on the podcast. Let's grow this garden, because we all know that life's a garden. Dig it. You've gotta keep on keeping on.
Why you talking to the microphone? I got a back right here. Back of my. Life's a garden, dig it, you make it work for you.